Something catastrophic is unfolding inside the electric vehicle industry right now, and almost nobody on Wall Street is paying attention. Tesla, the company that promised to revolutionize transportation, save the planet, and lead America into an electric future, has just run headfirst into a fatal weakness buried deep inside its supply chain. A weakness so fundamental, so overlooked, that it threatens not just Tesla, but every single electric vehicle manufacturer in the United States. This is not about lithium batteries. This is not about rare earth magnets. This is not about semiconductors. It's about something far more basic, far more critical, and far more dangerous. Silver. The metal nobody talks about. The metal most investors ignore. The metal that every electric vehicle on Earth absolutely depends on. And China just demonstrated that it can restrict America's access to it whenever it chooses. By the end of this video, you will understand why Tesla's 2026-2027 production targets may be mathematically impossible, why the US EV industry is built on geopolitical quicksand, why Wall Street is dangerously underpricing supply chain risk, and what this means if you own Tesla stock, EV stocks, or are betting on the energy transition. Because what's happening right now is not a temporary supply chain hiccup. This is a structural crisis years in the making, and it's about to explode. The silver Tesla never talks about. Let's start with numbers. Tesla does not advertise in its earnings calls. Every single Tesla vehicle contains between 25 and 50 grams of silver. That equals roughly 1 to 1.6 troy ounces per car. At first glance, that sounds insignificant, but this is where the mathematics becomes devastating. In 2024, Tesla produced approximately 1.77 million vehicles. By the first 3 quarters of 2025, Tesla had already manufactured more than 1 million vehicles. Now let's do the math together. At a conservative average of 35 grams of silver per vehicle, Tesla consumed between 43 and 88 million grams of silver per year. That equals roughly 1.4 to 2.8 million troy ounces annually, and that's just one company. But here's the detail that changes everything. The silver is not optional, it is not substitutable, and it is not easily removed. Silver is woven into the entire electrical architecture of every Tesla, where the silver actually goes. So where exactly does all this silver go? It's everywhere. Electrical contacts and connectors, battery management system, circuit boards, power electronics and inverters, control modules, wiring harnesses, OIS, sensor arrays, high performance switches. Anywhere electrical efficiency matters, silver is present, and in an electric vehicle, electrical efficiency is everything. Every fractional loss in conductivity means less driving range, lower performance, reduced charging efficiency. Silver has the highest electrical conductivity of any metal on Earth. That's why it's used. And that's why there is no real substitute. Copper comes close, but not close enough. When range determines whether a customer buys your car or your competitors, you don't downgrade conductivity. You can't. This is why an internal combustion engine vehicle uses only 15-28 grams of silver, while a Tesla uses up to 50 grams, nearly double. Now scale that across the entire EV industry. EV demand is colliding with reality. Global EV sales reached approximately 17 million units in 2025. The automotive sector now consumes between 90 and 94 million ounces of silver annually, and that number is rising every single year. By 2027, EVs will overtake internal combustion vehicles as the largest source of automotive silver demand. By 2031, EVs will account for 59% of all automotive silver usage. This is not linear growth, this is exponential. But Tesla's production model assumes one critical thing, that silver will always be available, at scale, at stable prices, from reliable suppliers. That assumption just shattered. Why China controls silver without owning the mines? Most people believe silver supply comes down to mining. Mexico, Peru, Australia. And yes, Mexico produces the most mined silver. But mining is only half the equation. Refining is where the real power lies. Here's the key fact Wall Street ignores. 70 to 75% of the world's silver is produced as a byproduct of lead, zinc, and copper mining. And China dominates lead production, zinc refining, copper smelting. Which means silver mined in Mexico or Peru often flows through Chinese processing facilities before it becomes usable metal. China doesn't need to own the mines, they control the bottleneck. This is the same playbook they used with rare earth elements, and in 2025, they proved they are willing to weaponize it. The export control warning shot. On April 4th, 2025, China imposed export controls on 7 heavy rare earth elements, including samarium, gadolinium, terbium, dysprosium, materials essential for EV motors and electronics. The result? Months-long delays, license denials, production disruptions. In October 2025, China escalated again. European automakers shut down production lines. Prices for terbium and dysprosium exploded, up to 6 times higher outside China. Then came a temporary suspension. But here's the catch. That suspension expires in November 2026. It's not peace. It's a pause button. And every supply chain manager in America knows it. Tesla's Shanghai dependency. Now let's talk about Tesla's biggest vulnerability, the Shanghai Gigafactory. Annual capacity, over 950,000 vehicles. Total production since launch, over 4 million vehicles. Share of Tesla's global deliveries, nearly 50%, half of Tesla's cars come from China. And over 95% of components in those vehicles come from Chinese suppliers, including cattle battery cells, cathode materials, electrical systems packed with silver. Even Tesla's Texas Gigafactory depends on Chinese suppliers for key battery materials. This is not diversification. This is concentration risk. Why Tesla can't just move fast. Tesla knows this problem exists. In 2025, they ordered suppliers to remove Chinese-made components from US and built vehicles by 2027. But here's the reality. You cannot replace an entire industrial ecosystem in 2 years. New suppliers must be qualified. New factories must be built. Quality standards must be validated. Volumes must be scaled. This takes years and billions of dollars. Meanwhile, China still controls the choke point. Collapsing margins meet rising metal risk. Tesla's margins are already collapsing. Gross margin Q3, 2025, 18%. Automotive margin, ex credits, 15%. Operating margin, 5.8%. Net profit down 37%. Yo, why Tesla looks less like a tech company and more like a traditional automaker. Now add rising metal costs. Silver cannot be removed. If silver prices spike, Tesla cannot raise prices. Tesla cannot absorb costs. Tesla cannot switch suppliers. That's a squeeze from every direction. The US is not ready. According to the USGS, the US is 100% import reliant for 12-15 critical minerals. Over 50% reliant for nearly 30 more domestic silver production, 35 million ounces per year. Projected automotive demand alone by 2031, 90 plus million ounces. Add solar, electronics, AI data centers, and the deficit explodes. This is not a gap, it's a canyon.